This video was made possible by Mizizi International, the official African diaspora clothing brand. Visit mizizishop.com for more information. In the vivid tapestry of South Africa's socio-economic landscape, the prevailing narrative of poverty often paints a picture of collective struggle. However, a striking and paradoxical phenomenon has emerged, challenging conventional perceptions: the plight of the white population in South Africa. In an unexpected reversal, a growing number of white South Africans find themselves grappling with abject poverty, relegated to slums devoid of basic necessities such as electricity, food, and clean water. Today's video aims to explore the intricacies of this overlooked facet of poverty, delving into the causes, consequences, and the pervasive impact of systematic racism on those who were once considered the beneficiaries of apartheid. Before we dive into our topic today, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channels and ringing the bell to be notified about all our exciting future videos. Throughout much of the 20th century in South Africa, being white carried with a pervasive sense of privilege. The historical context of 19th century colonial wars, land disposition, and the establishment of a racially differentiated labor system bestowed significant material and political advantages upon a substantial number of white individuals. This privileged status, however, was not uniform, as even in the early 20th century, a noteworthy portion of the white population found themselves with limited material resources. Over several decades in the early part of the century, the depiction of the poor white emerged as a societal challenge that demanded thorough research, documentation, photography, and uplifting through welfare initiatives. The existence of impoverished whites residing alongside individuals from different racial backgrounds presented a direct challenge to the ideal of a racially homogeneous society. Whether cohabiting in the slums of Johannesburg or in farming districts like Middelburg, the presence of poor whites engaging with other races stirred concerns among white authorities. There was a palpable anxiety about what was perceived as the destruction of the white race. This apprehension manifested prominently in the main opposition party of the time, foretelling the party that would later champion apartheid, which campaigned fervently to prevent the white man from becoming the white nigger. This historical perspective sheds light on the complexities surrounding racial dynamics and the evolving discourse on identity and social order during that era. The white population in South Africa bears the brunt of resentment and reprisal for the decades of apartheid governance. In 1948, following the ascent of the National Party to power, the all-white government promptly initiated the enforcement of its racially divisive policies, establishing what would later be famous as the apartheid rule in South Africa. Over nearly 4 decades, the minority white government implemented a range of suppressive measures against the black population. These included the denial of access to better job opportunities reserved exclusively for the white population, and even the restrictions on property ownership. The scars of this historical injustice continue to cast a long shadow over the present-day circumstances of South Africa's white community. Following almost 4 decades of racial segregation, apartheid in South Africa came to an end when the Nelson Mandela-led African National Congress assumed government leadership in 1994, promising the dawn of an inclusive rainbow society. However, the anticipated fulfillment of this promise remained elusive, as the ANC initiated policies that disproportionately favor the black population. While affirmative action was introduced as a post-apartheid reconstruction strategy to rectify the historical and legal exclusion of the black majority, its implementation began to raise concerns, especially among the white population. Affirmative action, framed as a policy for black empowerment, aimed to ensure that previously oppressed blacks could retain higher levels of economic, educational, cultural, and political achievement. The post-apartheid era saw the implementation of various affirmative action measures addressing issues such as employment, income disparities, poverty, and the historical lack of equal educational opportunities. However, the unintended consequence was a growing sense of disenfranchisement and vulnerability among the white population in South Africa, sparking a nuanced and contentious dialogue about the post-apartheid trajectory and the complexities of redressing historical injustices. This course of events resulted in the targeted segregation of South Africa's white population, curbing the access to educated and deserving individuals to better job opportunities. The implementation of affirmative actions by the government, influenced by communist ideologies, has only intensified over time. In 2019, discussions within the South African Parliament revolved around the constitutional reforms that proposed the uncompensated seizure of private land. Notably, then US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo expressed concerns emphasizing that such land distribution without compensation could have disastrous consequences for South Africa and its people. Rather than fostering the development of a modern, vibrant society, the communist government pursued a distinct form of radical wealth redistribution, reminiscent of extreme Robin Hood policies. Consequently, a term previously unfamiliar in South Africa began to gain recognition: white population poverty. In contemporary South Africa, a nation that aspired to transcend racial boundaries for collective success, the grim reality is marked by the pervasive scourge of abject poverty. White slums have become a poignant manifestation of this distress, proliferating across the country as the white population finds itself disproportionately targeted by government policies. A segment of South Africa's white populace, akin to many black township residents, grapples with the harsh realities of poverty. According to DW journalist Sertan Sanderson of Munsiville, the challenges faced by these communities are remarkably similar. Despite the declaration of statutory equality in 1994, the living conditions for numerous South Africans, irrespective of race, have failed to witness substantial improvement. Leigh du Preez, the founder of South African Family Relief Project, asserts that programs designed to address decades of enforced inequality have fallen short of the objectives. However, du Preez's concern is not directed at black families. Instead, she highlights an alarming trend: an increasing number of white individuals grappling with unemployment and hunger contend that their predicament is a consequence of racial bias. In these marginalized colonies, many young white individuals find themselves confronting a harsh reality: job opportunities denied to them based on their place of residence. The discrimination they face is rooted in historical crimes that transpired long before their birth, casting them with unwitting victims of troubled past. The government's flawed policies have contributed to a widespread lack of employment, leaving a considerable portion of the population, regardless of race, in a state of destitution and hunger. Remarkably, young whites in South Africa now occupy the lowest rungs of societal hierarchy. The scarcity of food has become a pressing issue, exacerbated by the contentious practice of expropriating land from white farmers and relocating it to a section of the population with limited farming expertise. In addition to economic challenges, white farmers in South Africa have become targets of violence, perceived by some members of the black population as symbols of past oppression. Official police statistics from April 2019 to 2020 reveal the concerning trend, with 49 white farmers reported killed during this period. This disturbing statistic adds to the already high crime rate in the country, emphasizing the racially motivated nature of some attacks. Notably, during the same time frame, a staggering 21,000 murders were reported in South Africa, underscoring the broader issue of violence. The sovereignty of the situation garnered international attention, with Australia announcing in 2018 that it was reconsidering special visas for white farmers facing targeting in South Africa. Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton expressed the possibility of providing fast-track visas on humanitarian ground for South Africa's white farmers. The white slums in South Africa have taken on an unexpected role as tourist sites, particularly drawing the interest of Europeans. Cape Town, known as a premier tourist destination in the country, offers a diverse range of attractions, from wine tours and beaches to scenic hiking, all easily accessible by a short drive. For those seeking a different perspective, guided tours of the townships, impoverished areas initially created during the Apartheid era, have become a unique attraction. Mzu Lembeni, who grew up in the township himself, runs one of the many tour companies, offering visitors the opportunity to step into people's homes, experience local culture, and even interact with children at a local school. While some view this as potentially exploitative, Lembeni sees it as an opportunity to showcase the culture rather than focusing on poverty. He asserts, "I don't sell the poverty, I sell the culture." The majority of Lembeni's clients are white Europeans, drawn to these tours to witness what they perceive as the real South Africa. In a nation where over half the population lives below the poverty line and the impact of apartheid lingers, a township visit provides a raw glimpse into the daily reality for many. However, the influx of tourists into the townships has stirred mixed reactions among the residents. While some appreciate the opportunity to share their culture, others are less welcoming of constant wanderers in the street, sparking a nuanced conversation about the intersection of tourism, poverty, and cultural exchange in post-apartheid South Africa. As we delve into the complex issues surrounding South Africa's socio-economic landscape and the challenges faced by its wide population, we invite you to share your thoughts on this critical matter. What are your insights into the impact of reverse racism and the targeted policies affecting the country's trajectory? Feel free to express your opinions in the comments section below. If you found this exploration informative and thought-provoking, we encourage you to subscribe to the New Africa channel for more in-depth analysis and discussions on pertinent topics.